Any last words, Mr. Custer?
Yeah. I have a gun in my pocket.
Wit till the very end.
I do. I have a gun in my inside pocket. See? Star wanted me to kill you.
Then he shall know my buttocks as few men ever have.
What the hell was that death threat? Ew.
Oh, but I'm totally using that line going forward.
Guys, we're breaking down episode 9 of season 3 of Preacher right now.
But before we get started, be sure to hit that subscribe button for all your Preacher coverage. We're also covering Castle Rock, so be sure to check that out.
Guys, before we get started, obviously there are major spoilers ahead. If you haven't watched episode 9, go do that. All the buttocks death threats involved as well, and then come right back here. All right, guys, this is the penultimate episode. We only have one more left in season 3, and it's called Schwanzkopf. I think I'm saying that correctly. It's German, and that translates to dickhead.
Clearly a reference to Hairstar's head.
Yes.
Your head looks like a dick.
So I've been told.
All right, so where we left off, the Allfather has Jesse basically ready to transfer Genesis to Humperdew. But then Jesse kind of talks him into letting him go free for a second and get on his knees with his handcuffs.
Yeah, I mean, the Allfather was a little too overconfident. Like, it
Yeah.
seemed like such a mistake to even give Jesse a chance to be free like that. And we saw how it ultimately backfired on him.
We see this trope in like TV and movies all the time, where the villain like lets the good guy just gives him a little bit of sunlight in order to get free and do something. And we knew exactly what was going to happen. We knew that Jesse was going to do something that would stop the Allfather from transferring Genesis.
Right. And it was an epic struggle to his defense, but it's just one that shouldn't have happened.
Let's talk about that epic struggle. So he basically transfers Genesis after he zaps the Allfather. He transfers Genesis into the Allfather.
After being injected with that prototype of, I believe, King Louis and Serena Williams.
Correct, right. So not the Tom Brady serum, the other one. And then obviously the Allfather, once Genesis is inside of him, cannot contain the power of Genesis, just like we saw in season 1 when everyone was exploding. And this is a big explosion.
Oh yeah.
It's probably one of the most disgusting explosions that we've seen in this show, if not on TV.
It was probably the most comedic, grotesque scene I've seen.
Blessed Almighty.
And it reminded me a lot of Odin Quincannon. You guys remember he had that mental breakdown where he was like making love to animal parts?
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Really disgusting. But basically, there's the Allfather's insides are outside in this room, except for one thing. Before we talk about this asshole,
Quite literally.
exactly, are you surprised by how quickly the Allfather came and went in this TV show? He's already dead.
I am. I thought he was going to be a recurring villain and a big bad for season 4. It seems kind of unfortunate that he just came in and was gone within a matter of episodes. He wasn't.
I do agree with you. I do agree with you. Obviously, he's a big part of the comic books. I think it just goes back to how big of a presence Hairstar has in this show.
Yeah.
And they kind of wanted to separate these two villains. And just, which I'm all for. Hairstar is obviously a great character, and Pip Torrens does an awesome job in this TV show. So I think it was more of, hey, we have a really strong presence on the villain side.
Yeah.
So let's, at this point, the Allfather is expendable.
Yeah, and it's kind of nice to see Jesse and Star finally be on the opposite sides again. Like, they were
Yes.
kind of getting too chummy for a while.
Totally agree.
And it'll be nice to see them as rivals once more.
All right, back to that literal asshole. The soul of Jesse's, the 1% I think it was that he was missing, it literally falls out of the asshole. Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying that. But Jesse is able to wrestle in all the blood and guts and finally get the soul.
Joy to the world.
Were you surprised that he got it this quickly?
No, I figured
Actually, it wasn't that quickly, but are you
No.
surprised he got it at this episode?
No, I'm happy he finally has it. Like, it took forever for Genesis to come back, and we keep
Yeah.
saying, like, it's such a big part of the show that it was almost a missed opportunity to have him have it.
Right.
So it feels good for it to finally be reunited with Jesse.
We did it.
On your knees.
So Jesse has Genesis, but he's not done yet. He obviously wants to stop the Grail from this apocalypse that they have planned.
Yeah.
What do you think about the whole plan?
It seemed kind of ill-conceived. Like, it just seems like this ridiculous far-off notion of how they're even going to eliminate people and selectively blow them up.
Right, yeah. It did not seem very smart or well thought out. And it's interesting, though, like, Herr Starr now is in a position where he doesn't have his Messiah. He doesn't have the power of God, the voice of God. Does he still go through with this plan, or an adapted plan?
I mean, the world doesn't know the difference between the real Messiah and whatever Joe Schmo Humperdew clone.
Right.
So he could grab the clone and still try to go through with the plan. Truthfully, though, I think it's not the end of him going after Jesse, and he's going to find a way to blackmail him at some point. Like, I think they're still going to clash.
Definitely. He's not going anywhere soon. I did enjoy Jesse letting Humperdew go. We learned a lot about Jesse. He's not going to just kill an innocent Humperdew in point-blank range with a gun. He lets him go and just kind of hides them amongst all the other clones of Humperdew. So we have no idea, Humperdew Prime, which one is him? We don't know.
Was he the one hit by the car? The one still on the staircase? Who knows?
That overhead shot of all of them walking out of the building was hysterical.
So good.
Now, one really fun comic book Easter egg was when Jesse commanded Herr Starr using the power of Genesis, and he basically had him no longer wear hats.
No more hats.
I love the hats this season, but it was so nice to see Starr actually trying on the different wigs just like they did in the comic books. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's a literal comic book panel that they nod to, obviously. And for a minute there, I thought I was going to get a lot more R-rated with his commands. I thought he was going to literally make him eat up all of the guts in that room.
Oh, thank God that wasn't the case. Like, it was already disgusting enough to watch him have to consume that. Oh, no thank you.
Another big moment for the Grail is Hoover's return. He is a vampire now, and he lets his coworkers know about this and that it won't affect him on the job.
No, he might be the strongest vampire I know yet. Like, it was really bright in that room, and he looked like he was unfazed.
All right, now over on the bus to hell, it's called Distant Vistas Express number 6. We have Saint of Killers, Angel of Death, Featherstone, Eugene, and Hitler. Or Hilter.
Hilter, if you
Hilter. And then Tulip obviously shows up with Jody, and there's a little bit of a back and forth. Tulip has a change of heart. I was kind of surprised by this.
Yeah, like, she saw how much she was struggling, where she was heading, and just couldn't, as much as she hated her, couldn't let her go to hell.
Yeah, it was interesting to see her kind of feel bad for Featherstone in that situation, even though she's, tried to kill her numerous times. And then obviously Eugene notices and recognizes Tulip.
Yeah.
Blows her
innocent
cover.
Eugene. He did it because he was so happy to see her, but little did he realize he just condemned her.
Tulip! Tulip! Tulip O'Hara, it's me, Eugene!
So long, Tulip.
Now, the interesting thing about all of this is that when we think about who's heading to hell right now, only Hitler is the one that belongs there.
Yeah.
Eugene and Tulip are not dead, and they were never supposed to be in hell in the first place.
And it was actually interesting to see the Angel of Death knew that. She knew that Eugene didn't belong there, which was something like last season we kind of played off where, do they even know Eugene shouldn't belong there?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see whether the Saint of Killers will have a change of heart or more follow the code that he has internally to protect those two.
Totally. So, they head down the path to hell. Now, I'm not entirely sure how long the drive to hell takes. I would think it'd be much quicker transport.
Yeah, you'd think like even on this bus, a bus to hell should still be a relatively quick transportation there, but it's taken them quite a while.
Yeah, we don't want to give too much time to let the captives escape, and that's exactly what they're trying to do. There's a fun little moment where Tulip is basically explaining how it's all going to go down, and they use the animations to kind of show this, and then literally none of that happens.
Yeah, the animation style is really cool too. It was very reminiscent of Legion and
Yes.
some of their breakdowns that they have there.
Good call, love that. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just funny watching her put all these planets into motion and watching how terribly they failed, and the Angel of Death even looking back like, yeah, I dare you to try it.
The one thing I was surprised about, though, is that there's only like 6 people on this bus, and they're not at all concerned about them plotting to get off the bus.
I mean, they almost seem overconfident, just like the Allfather was with Jesse, that
Yeah.
there's no way they could. And so they just let them do whatever they want until they give up.
Now, there is one saving grace, right? And that is Hilter's friend from a nearby,
Some electronics store? or
yeah,
something like that.
knockoff Best Buy, I want to say.
Rick, I believe is his name.
Rick, yeah, and he is there with his Nazi friends, and they stop the bus, ultimately at the end here, and, with a tank.
Yeah, apparently they had a tank and somehow the tank caught up to them.
Explain this to me, guys. I have no clue how the mode of transportation in this area works. I would think the bus would have a head start, and that it should be a much quicker drive to hell.
I mean, Hitler did tell them where they're heading, and I guess somehow they found a way to cut them off still? I'm not sure.
One of my favorite moments in this entire sequence was when Hitler says the line about "it's a free country." Pretty funny. Good job, guys. Hitler saying it's a free country is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
We don't want to have a conversation with you. We're talking for COVID, so quiet, woman. You. Now look at your gun.
Now, I think it's worth mentioning that there is probably 0% chance that the Santa Killers in the Angel of Death are knocked out or killed from what just happened.
No, they are two of the most badass people out there where, like, they can just stop guns. They're indestructible.
Yeah.
Like, they're not even knocked unconscious. I think next episode we're going to see the Angel Dust come out and probably slaughter them all.
Yeah.
And it'll be the Santa Killers who might be the only one who can stop the Angel of Death to maybe give them a fighting chance.
Totally. If you see Tulip awake and coherent after an explosion like that, then you know that the other two are completely fine. Now, while this is all going on, the newly freed Featherstone joins up with Jody, and they're driving back to Angelville. Now, interesting part here too, because Jody kind of had a change of heart too, and he was like, don't you feel bad that you didn't go and help Tulip?
Yeah, it seemed such a weird question for his character to ask that. Like, for him to say, "You a cold bitch," like, that to me is more his character. But the part, like, "Don't you feel bad?" It almost makes me want to care for Jody as if he has a heart, when his character really shouldn't, considering how dark he is in the comics.
Yeah, there is an interesting thing that, like, in the past with Jesse's mom, that he has a soft spot for what happened, or maybe he feels responsible. Obviously, he took part in her death, but also maybe there was something before that, some feelings that he had. So, maybe he's a much more sensitive person than we thought he was, at least in the TV show.
Yeah, the show's definitely given him more of a compassion thing and almost makes you want to care for him. Same with TC, for that matter.
All right, so over in New Orleans with the Children of Blood and Aquarius and Cass, basically we find out that Aquarius is just too damn strong for Cassidy.
Yeah, Cassidy doesn't even stand a chance. Like, even when he's throwing punches, like, he's just dancing circles around him and just basically fighting him as if he's in slow motion.
So Aquarius is way too strong for Cassidy, and then Aquarius goes on to tell the Children of Blood that it was in fact Cassidy who killed Hoover and had basically hated them the entire time.
Yeah, he had the perfect setup using the fact that Cassidy came in questioning them to turn them all on him. Like, he's kind of in a predicament, but I don't see him staying in this predicament for long. Like, even the fact that he does care about Lisa and some of the other ones, it's going to come back to bite Aquarius in the butt. And the question is, how is Aquarius going to get it?
Yeah. Now, while Cassidy's whole storyline is kind of off of the main storyline, I actually really do appreciate and I enjoy this storyline this year. It's been kind of an emotional journey for him.
Please, Cassidy. We're this close to happiness.
I'd rather be sad. Come on, let's just get it over and done with.
No. It's going to be worse than that.
Yeah, it's been nice to watch the actor play off those emotions and really show off his acting chops, just to make us really feel for the character and give a whole new dynamic and depth to the character.
There's a really interesting line and a very powerful line when basically Aquarius says, don't you want to be happy? Wouldn't this make you happy? We're so close to happiness. And basically Cassidy says, like, I'd rather be sad than this. I don't want to kill innocent people and just become this all-powerful vampire. It's a very, I can only imagine that being a vampire is a very lonely way of living.
Oh yeah, it's so heartbreaking.
So Aquarius and the Children of Blood basically nail Cassidy to a pool table, and then they open up the blinds, but the sun's not directly hitting him yet. Now, funny little comedic bit right there. But like most, I would say, James Bond villains or the TV tropes and movie tropes, lets him just sit there and reminisce on his life before he dies. They're gonna let the sun just gradually go to him.
Oh yeah, like that's way too much time to not only just leave him to die,
Yeah.
but to leave him unguarded.
Yeah, he's completely unguarded. Let's just let him just hang out there and just kind of devise of a way to get out of that.
Can I be greedy and ask for one small act of kindness?
I won't let you go, Mr. Cassidy.
No, of course not.
So episode 9 ends with Jesse returning to Angelville, and he has the full power of Genesis. I was just excited to see that as he's walking in, lights a cigarette, and he's just like, it's gonna go down next episode.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. Like, we're in for an epic battle. Like, compared to the Allfather one, which was over quickly, Grandma is not only expecting him, knows Jesse's coming back to kill him, and she's aware of Genesis. So, like, the devil probably gave her something to maybe prepare some type of counterattack or some type of measure to go against that power.
That's a great point, and don't forget that Jody is on the way to Angelville. He has a little car trouble, but he has a whole bunch of souls to give Grandma, so she's about to get powered up to a whole nother level.
Oh man, it's like Super Saiyan Grandma coming your way.
All right, guys, now for some predictions for the season finale. Gage and I are gonna guess where our main characters are gonna end up after season 3 is over. Let's start with Jesse. Okay, obviously he's there in Angelville. He has full power of Genesis, and Grandma is expecting him. What do we think?
I think Jesse will kill Grandma. Like, I don't think Grandma stands a chance. Like,
Okay.
I think by the end of it, like she will
that.
be taken down.
Yeah.
However, while I don't think he'll necessarily end up in hell, I think he'll be heading towards hell to rescue Tulip.
That's great. That's great. I love that. Yeah, I think that Grandma is going to die by the end of the season finale. I also think Jody and TC are going to get killed, but it's going to be an epic battle. I don't think it's going to be really quick. I don't think they're going to go down like Allfather did. I think it's going to be a really big fight. I just think that Grandma will have some sort of countermeasure, as you said, when Jesse shows up. Whether it's using her blood pact in order to stop him from speaking, or remember, if people can't hear the commands, then they can't follow the commands, like we saw with Donnie in season 1. And I believe the Grail had on those headphones back last year. So I think that they're going to have some sort of way to fight against Genesis when we get to Angelville.
They'll be ready for him.
Now let's talk about Tulip, though. Do we think that she will head to hell?
I think she will. Like, I was saying how Jesse's going to have to go to hell to rescue Tulip.
Yeah.
I think Eugene will be free. I think the Santa Killers will allow him to be free. And while he might try to save Tulip, I think the Angel of Death will ultimately take Tulip down, forcing Jesse to go down there.
I do agree with a lot what you just said, but I do think that Eugene will also head to hell, and that Jesse will see him down there and have to confront the whole idea that he's the one that sent him down there in the first place. And I'm sure Jesse feels extremely remorseful for what he did.
I agree with that, except I think Eugene will still be up, and they'll have to confront each other then. And Eugene's going to be all cheerful, still believing it's all part of the plan of God, which will make Jesse feel all sorts of weird. But he will be the one to tell Jesse that Tulip's been taken down to hell.
Oh, I like that. So basically, you think that Eugene might cross paths with Jesse in Angelville, let's say, and say, hey, Tulip is in hell. The Santa Killers and Angel of Death took her down there. And then Jesse has no other problem but to command himself to go to hell.
Oh, that's going to be epic.
Now, how do we think it all shakes out between the Santa Killers and the Angel of Death?
I think they're going to have an epic battle. Like, I think the Angel of Death is going to kill off all of, like, Hitler's people that came there. But I think the Santa Killers, he has a code. And I don't think he's going to allow himself to let Eugene and Tulip go to hell when they're not meant to. Like, being the Wild West or not, that goes against what he would do. So I think he's going to have an epic fight. He won't kill the Angel of Death, but I think he'll do enough where he can probably save Eugene, and Tulip will still get dragged down to hell.
And now Hitler or Hilter, what's up with him? He's a goner, right?
I think they both want him in hell. I think Angel of Death and Santa Killers, neither of them really care. He's going to hell.
Sorry, Hitler, you're done. You're done. You've been free for way too long. Now let's talk about Cassidy. Do we think that Cassidy survives the pool table death?
I think he does survive. I think he'll flip it on Aquarius and end up nailing him somewhere and kind of giving a little nod to the comics with how he takes out Aquarius. But I think he will at some point join up with Jesse again when he finds out what happens to Tulip, and they will probably go to hell together.
Now, what about this? What if Vampire Hoover comes back to save the day and proves that Cassidy wasn't the one that killed him?
I mean, that would be an epic way to save Cassidy, but I definitely think he has to play a factor in this. Like, Aquarius is probably even hunting for Hoover to make sure he cuts off any loose ends.
Right, I think that the big point here is that they're gonna make the phone calls to all of the people that took their flights and basically realize that everyone's dead, that no one is where Aquarius says they are. So it'll be proof that, you know, Cassidy was right and Aquarius is wrong, and then hopefully the Children of Blood can help Cassidy overthrow Aquarius. But you know, a big episode ahead of us. I am so excited that the finale is here, and but I'm also kind of sad. I wish we had more.
Yeah, like I wanted more episodes. Like I thought we were getting 13 this season like last season. So it's kind of sad we're only getting 10, but you know, all good things must come to an end.
Yes, totally. Guys, that's it for Gage and I this week, guys. Let us know your predictions in the comments below. We will make sure to share the best predictions, whoever gets it right, if anyone does, in next week's video. So make sure you put your predictions down there right now.
Cool. Be sure to tune in next week for the finale. See you guys.
See you guys. Did you think that Jody ran over God in the dog costume?
Oh my God.
I know, right?
You're going straight to hell.
You're the one going to hell.